Welcome everyone. This is the EasyPower Tuesday Refresher webinar series. Today's topic is on custom labeling in EasyPower. My name is Jim Chastain and I want to welcome everyone in attendance today. Turns out the topic is not necessarily a hot technical topic, but it's really useful when you need it. And I think what we're going to be going through explaining are examples that pretty much every project will run into at some time or another. So questions are welcome, and we will be supplying a certificate of attendance to everyone who attended today via email. So the EasyPower label editor is built into the tool and includes a number of standard templates. And what I'm going to be doing is making some customization of two cases at least, but we have on the website dozens of other webinars we've done illustrating how to implement label changes, to implement company policy, add QR codes, do language transition, and I guess what we're classified today doing is special bus accommodations regarding the data on the label. So before we get started, I'd like to start with a couple poll questions, and we would appreciate your feedback, no obligation or liability. But the first question is, how often do you use custom labels? And again, this is just to get a perspective on the audience's take on the topic or exposure to the topic, and maybe expanding on areas that would be more pertinent than others. So it looks like we have close to a quorum. Let's give this another 10 seconds. Excellent. Here's how people have weighed in. So it looks like they have a pretty reasonable distribution. I think you'll find the example that we're going to go through may apply to virtually every company at some point in time. And so hopefully it'll be useful in that regard. And then the second question is, when you do need customizing, what area is most likely the need or the target? And again, this one should be all over the map, so I don't have a clue what to expect here. I regard the label editor in EasyPower as a extremely sophisticated and elegant tool, and the more you learn about it, the better you can implement or take advantage of its elements. So that's what we're trying to do with these webinars. It looks like we have a quorum. Let's close this topic. Thank you. Here's how people have weighed in. More than welcome to use the question entry box as we're going through this. And if there's questions we can't get to because of time constraints, we'll follow up with a Q&A via email. So excellent. Good to know. All right, so what prompted this was I had a call from an EasyPower user that had the following situation. The instant energy calculated on a low voltage panel was high because the main breaker was excluded per the IEEE standard. The engineer applied the 2-second rule to show a more realistic label, and the spreadsheets now show manual time, but the client wants the label to show the actual upstream breaker protecting his panel. What to do about this? Well, what we're talking about is, and there are included with the label editor some 2 dozen or 3 dozen label templates, and a typical label template would show the ability or have the ability to display the upstream trip device based upon the data in the hazard spreadsheet. And so what the intent is to make sure that the operator or the field technician knows how to disable that panel in case they need to work on it. Well, in the case of this reduction in the calculation time, the hazard spreadsheet indicates a manual time is determining the arc flash incident energy, and that's not acceptable to the client. So what to do about this? Well, that's going to take us to the example. And I say that most designs that have a 240 volt or 208 volt bus, especially when the protections in the primary is going to should or may run into this problem. So let's open up EasyPower and walk through what's going on. So again, here's a 208 volt system. We go to short circuit focus and fault the bus. Let's just fault a single bus. We see it has a very high instant energy. And so we can either reduce the calculation time on the whole system or isolate it just on this bus. The decision was to do it just on this bus because there were other parts of the system we didn't want to affect. So to do this, we go to Database Edit and look at the dialog box for this bus. In the dialog box, when we go to the Arc Flash Hazard tab, we're excluding the main because we're referring to the global option. And instead of taking the TCC times, we're going to go to a user-defined time of 2 seconds. So this will limit the calculation time just on this bus. There's a couple things pointed out. The engineer had already put in the protective device associated with this bus in the comment section. And then I, in the device code, put in the text man1. And you'll see the purpose of this is my addition to the file, was to make this particular bus unique because the device code is not used anywhere else in the system. So let's go back and see how this shapes up. If I pick out the bus, fault it, look at instant energy. We see now it's 5 calories. And if we look at the range for arc flash, here's the issue, is that the upstream trip device is illustrating manual device. But we have, and this column is not usually included in the default listings. If I go to report configuration, I've selected the spreadsheet and go to report configuration. I want to add the column equipment label comment. If I scroll down, here it is here, as opposed to all the other comments that are available. So I picked this out just so I could see it. Once I've selected the spreadsheet, now I can access the label editor, which is this icon here at the top. By opening up the dialog, the tool makes available, as I mentioned, a couple dozen different templates. We're going to start off with this, and so they're all available, but I'm going to start off with this one that's already got it set up to display the equipment name and then your manual time. I'm going to go back. I want to pick out another bus. So I'm going to close this. I want to compare the results on this bus and this bus. So a 480 volt bus as compared to, and I can see on the 480 volt bus I have the upstream device clearly indicated. So again, I pick out the spreadsheet, go to the label editor at the top, pick out the template I want to start with. In this case, it's a 2021 with the warning tab. And then I can cycle between those two buses and see what I'm affecting. So now we're going to go to the label designer at the top and start the editor. Once we do that, the template, which is in XML, is displayed here in this bottom frame, but there's a user editor up here at the top right that I can take advantage of by selecting whatever element I want to make changes on the label itself. So if we come down, for instance, if I select the rectangle, the orange rectangle, this shows me the left corner and the width and the height. And I can make those adjustments with these dials or with the WYSIWYG push tabs. And so if I were making a change, I would do something like this, but I'm not. What I'm focused on is what's going on with the equipment name. And if we look at it on the other tab, we can see the equipment name is fed by, and we got manual time. Whereas if we have on the 480 volt label, it shows us the fed by correct label. So here's what I want to take advantage of. This, what I call fuzzy logic block up here on the right. Right now it's a conditional selection, and if it's empty, it shows the device name. Empty being the variable that we picked out, in this case the upstream device. Well, empty is not a condition that's going to show up. The problem we're running into is manual time. So rather than queue on that, I'm going to queue on that device code that I put in the database. And so I'm going to take this out. And instead of the upstream device, I want to pick out the device code. So if the device code contains man 1, which is that code that I put in the database, then I want the equipment name to be displayed, and I want that bus label from this column. So let's go find the bus label comments. And then by default, if it doesn't include man 1, I want to have the original. So I've done all this. Let me open up the one I've done and not try to relive this real time. I'm going to discard the edits. And I'm going to pick out the label I've already done to this point. Start the editor. Now I can see for this equipment name column, when the device code equals man 1, I want the equipment name to show the bus label contents, which it does. So even whenever it's not man 1, which is the case with the EWH bus, it will show the equipment device name in the fed by column. Okay, so let me finish this. So what I've done is effectively queued on a field that I know I can make unique and it will affect no other bus. If I use man 1 in other 208 volt buses, it would give me the same thing. And the good news is it would give me the bus label comments from that particular bus. So this works on any 208 volt bus that I want to put man 1 in the device code. Yeah, so Mike's saying, should we check the overcurrent protective device coordination to see what the upstream device should protect the panel? The answer is yes. So this is all done after I've completed my coordination and equipment duty tests. And then Frank is saying he does a similar, but he checks to see if the label comment is empty. If not empty, he uses the comment. That's valid too. So there's a lot of different ways to skin this cat. The reason I use this one is because I also use it for queuing QR code placement. And one of the webinars that I listed on the website, and I was going to show that. If you go to EasyPower.com and the video stream, we've got 35 videos that reference labels, and these get into very much the customized side of things. Okay, the other question here is, please show a step-by-step example. Chuck, I've done the warning default, but yeah, let's do that. He's asking how we change colors and the warning default to danger. Okay, so any questions on, again, this to me is really clever because it doesn't, the data is already in the database and it's just picking up a different field based upon the unique clue that I put in there. And Frank's method works as well. Okay, so the question is, how do we make the warning change of colors? So it actually, and this again is in one of the videos, I've selected the rectangle warning. That's orange. By default, let me see if I've got a better example. I'm going to look for, here we go. So this is the one I use the device code to do. Okay, Chuck wants to know how we change the colors. I've selected the rectangle on the warning, and I've made it conditional upon instant energy to be greater than 40. So probably be more impressive if I started from scratch, but basically this button starts off saying conditional. So once I click on it, it says make conditional. I select instant energy, and if it's greater than or equal to, and then it gives me a number. If it's greater than or equal to 40, then the fill color is red. The default color is orange, so anything below 40 will be orange. The same can be done with the warning text. Make it conditional on the instant energy greater than or equal to 40. And if it does, then that the text will go to danger. If it doesn't, it goes to warning, or sticks to warning. And what I can show is that if I wanted to put an exclamation point on every one, I just changed the default setting, and now my instant energy warning label has an exclamation point. Did that make sense? Chuck, we do have it in one of the videos, so I go through step by step multiple times. Yeah, and so in the same one, You change the background color to red, you change the text to danger, and you change the color of the triangle, which is all ANSI suggestions. Now here's another example just to note. The tool has the ability to use a QR code. Once you have it in there, oh, I don't have anything queued up. Well, let me show this off. There it is. So it's queued on the device code. And again, if it's not empty, if it's got a code there, then what is cool about this is that I've used the device code as part of the web page that I link to. And so it becomes unique as well. So by putting this code in there and linking it to the URL, I can make each bus separate and display one-line diagrams, display any data that pertains to this particular bus in and of itself. So again, that's a very powerful capability. Okay, so let me kind of walk through the examples here. Okay, so the problem was we had a fed by manual and we wanted it to refer to the upstream breaker. Excuse me. So I decided to use the device code as a unique field that I can queue on, and I look for the value of man 1. And so it makes an exception for this device code only. And once you start making changes to the template, you want to save it with a new name so you don't spoil the template. And then I was able to put the equipment name in the fed by as the default, as the conditional setting, and then the default was what it is for normal buses. Any other questions on that? Homer is saying our MCC is a maintenance mode switch connected. Do I need two? Okay, there's a couple schools of thought. My suggestion, my position is maintenance mode is not something that's should be available during normal operations. It should only be applied under the auspices of a hot work permit. And so a label that talks about the maintenance mode is dangerous if somebody is not operating on a hot work permit. And others say, nope, you put two labels on there. I want the people. Now, if you train people to understand it, then there's a way to justify that. But to me, that's a little dicey when you got maintenance mode information if somebody doesn't know what maintenance mode means. So the answer is yes to your question, Omer, if that's the way you're going to go. Why didn't you see the upstream device? John, what are you talking about? You didn't see it on my example? Because I changed my template. There's if I discard the edits, go back to the template that I want to use, which is my OMAN 1, and look at the editor for that. For a bus that has an upstream device, this shows the fed by. For a bus that shows manual time, because it's got the unique man 1 device code, the equipment name is fed by PC21A CB upstream. No, if you see, Chuck's asking if you gave the upstream device a name, would you get the name then instead of manual time? No, manual time shows up in my spreadsheet because I've manually limited the time of the calculation, so it doesn't use a TCC from any bus, right? So it's an artificial limit on the calculations to give me a more reasonable instant energy. What if you do not change the time? Well, if you do not change the time, you're going to have a huge number there because it's going to refer to that. Let's kind of go there. I'm going to close this and discard the edit. So this is what I mean. If you have 208 systems and you have primary protection and you don't limit the time, right? The way I limited the time on this bus is in the Arc Flash tab of the bus itself. I limited it to user-defined time of 2 seconds. If I don't want to do that, if I use it on TCC time, because we're excluding the main, then it's using this upstream breaker for protection in the 480 volt side of things. And so as a result, when I fault this bus, look at instant energy, it has 59 calories and an arc flash boundary of 200 inches. So that's what happens if you don't change the time. Any other questions? Why does the fed by column sometime empty? Same reason, because we've excluded the main, and if we don't limit the time, there will be no upstream tripping. In other words, it'll time out at 1,000 seconds if the current's low enough. So the reason we exclude the main is because IEEE says if there's not an arc barrier between the incoming conductors to the main and the bus that is protecting, or people working on the bus, then you can't use that breaker to calculate incident energy for that bus. So it's a requirement by IEEE 1584. Pavan is saying if you change the mode from integrated to momentary, the label might show upstream protective device. Well, that's a thought. I hadn't considered it. Let's try it out. Go to database edit, go to short stream, and momentary, and go OK. I'd be very surprised. So it shows exactly the same number. Yeah, I'd be kind of curious what the number is. That's a good question. Oh, because the current's so low, it doesn't change all that much between the 30 cycles. It changes all of 2 amps. So again, you're going to run into this problem whether you realize it or not if you have a 208 volt system that has primary protection upstream of the breaker. Okay, appreciate everyone's attention and comments and questions. And I'll skip this one for now. As I showed, there's dozens of templates on the website. You want to save it. When you make changes, you want to save it to a different name to retain the original template. And I know at least 3 are specifically on modifying the label on using the techniques I just went through. If you have issues and you need have some special label you're trying to come up with, be sure to contact support at easypower.com, and those guys are wizards at working with the editor. Thank you for attending today. Make sure you check easypower.com for webinars in the near future. We have new topics every month. Under easypower.com events, we do a monthly arc flash workshop, and then there's a quarterly grounding workshop, all at no cost. So I look forward to seeing you again online in the future. Have a good day.